Hello everyone and welcome to the latest series here on the channel. It is WMMA 5, the World of Mixed Martial Arts 5, of course by Adam Ryland and Grey Dog Softwares, as we're going to do a bit of a, I wouldn't say quick little series and playthrough before TW20 comes out. The little transitional series from TW 2016 to just, something different in the meantime as we wait in anticipation for TW20 to drop, as we got, of course, playing with this WMMA 5 series. It's going to be Pride 2000, which Pride 2000 is such a unique time for Pride, because really it was the start of the first ever Grand Prix tournament, the 2000 Open Weight Grand Prix tournament, which was won by Mark Coleman. As you see right here, had the infamous Sakuraba Royce Gracie MMA fight, which is legendary, very, very legendary bout. As we're hoping that can happen again here, as obviously that was a second round matchup for those familiar with that. So we gotta hope that actually happens. So, but without further ado, let's just get right into the series of mod. Yes, we don't need it. We're fine the way it is. So as we wait for it to create the database and whatnot, as just gonna talk in the meantime. As very excited to see how this series goes, as it's going to be it's unique. Obviously with the MMA series, you can't really book a whole lot of stuff in ahead of time, because you don't know what's really going to happen. As it's a shoot, brother, we can't really work a couple of MMA fights, especially at Pride around this time in 2000. That was more like the late 90s Pride. That was when Nobuyuka Nakata's tapping out Mark Coleman with a heel hook. That's just kind of what that type of era of Pride. That was more of fixed fights. But here, we're going to look to the forefront of the 2000s and onwards. Sure, we're not going to give anybody drug tests or anything, but we're not going to, do anything crazy. So, Pride FC. Obviously, we could have made this, we'll just make it all capitalized. There we go. That's better. As, obviously, we are going to be the owner and CEO of Pride once we get this all loaded up. Hell yeah. So obviously this first episode is going to be the intro episode, as we always do. So we're going to run down the roster, which is pretty short at this time period in 2000. Obviously there's only two weight divisions at the time, the heavyweight and light heavyweight division. There's no champions either, because obviously the champions weren't crowned until Pride 17, which was in November of 2001. So, we have no champions. We're not going to have any shit like that. So, obviously, we gotta scroll to find the motherfucker. There we go. Pride. Non-fighters. Alright, Nobuyuka is our man here. Obviously, he's the founder and owner of Pride. So, here we go. Make sure all this is in order. Yep. Everything I like. We'll make this default. Just really nothing too crazy. We'll make everything that default as well. Nothing too crazy there. Alright. So make that. So Pride, obviously, I could see that we don't have our, whatchamacallit, our pictures done. So we gotta hurry up and get through this so everyone can see the pictures. Alright, then here we are. Into the picture folder. Yes, we don't need the default 2001. There we go. Now that should do it. Make sure we save it. And we'll, back there. Back here. There we go. There's the pictures. Alright, so here, Pride FC. Obviously, we have no events made. So before we get into this, we're going to run down through the roster. We're going to set up some corporate stuff here. Because we have to, we got to make a headquarters, sponsoring all that shit. We're going to do that because we have, $25 million in the bank. We got money to spend. We're going to set up the Grand Prix 2000 show. So we'll do that, and then the tournament. And that'll pretty much do it for the first episode. So just to kind of give everybody what's going on here. So the roster. As Akira Shoji, who is a middleweight guy who really fights at light heavyweight here for us. He's fought at a bunch of Pride events you see here. A couple of draws for the early Prides, so the Pride 1 and the Pride 3. But so far, he's has a record of 5-5, which is very unique. But a 4-1-2 overall in Pride records. That's very important there. As Alexander Asuka, who is, much fondly for me seeing him in Battle Arts. So that was always cool to see him in Pride. Obviously, him being a pro wrestler, he's not going to do very well in Pride here, as you can see, in MMA overall, with a record of 1-3, but a 1-1 record in Pride so far. So that's going to be that's interesting there. As Alan Goes, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial artist, Brazilian top team guy. So far, he's obviously a very, very, very talented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu combatant. So it will, light heavyweight guy as well. Alan Goes, the only guy I think on our roster doesn't have a body picture, just because basically what I did is I gave everybody the kind of Pride FC, the little fire background there. Everybody usually has one, but Alan Goes, for some reason, does not have one. I'm not sure. I think him and maybe somebody else. I'm trying to see. I don't think Ken Shamrock has one, which, obviously you see Ken Shamrock's render for the 2000 folder is just him in, like, WWF in 1998, because obviously, at this time and around this time, he had, like, the Wolverine sideburns. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you remember the, when he won the NWA TNA NWA heavyweight title at the first NWA TNA show, and that kind of crazy Royal Rumble type of gimmick thing they had. I think it was something for the gold, something like that. But that was kind of what he was looking like at the time, not looking like this, obviously. But back to the actual roster here, as Bob Schreiber from Holland, Dutch kickboxer. Obviously, I'm a huge, well, not obviously, but I'm a huge fan of the Dutch kickboxers at this time. Pretty much throughout the MMA history, I love Dutch kickboxers. Just very, solid, fundamentally sound. I've always, Nestor Hoost is the goddamn man. But Bob Schreiber, not really as far as on that level of kind of Dutch kickboxing, but he's still very, very competent, and he's very, very good. But, it's just, we'll see how he does here in Pride. Obviously, he's not done too well, 0-1, as he lost by disqualification at Pride 7. But we shall see that changes in the future. As Carlos Barreto, who's another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy who's doing very well for himself in the mixed martial arts world at the time, 10-2, is the 12th heavyweight in the world, 5th heavyweight in Pride, which that seems pretty odd. I didn't think we had that many top heavyweight fighters here in Pride so far. But we got Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock's probably light heavyweight, but I guess that's true. But Carlos is he'll be doing pretty well for us. Obviously, his only loss in Pride was against Igor, who's very, very competent. It was a split decision loss in the 3rd round as well. So there is that. Carlos Newton, one of my favorites welterweights in the fandom of MMA as a whole, especially at this time too. Very, very young, 23 years old, 6-3 overall. For him, Carlos Newton, he's really more remembered in UFC kind of fandom, not necessarily Pride, just because Pride at this time, obviously, he's fighting at, like, light heavyweight, because, we only have 2 weight divisions. But, yeah, so that's, he's fought Dan Henderson and Sakuraba even early on in his career. So that's huge at UFC 17 and Pride 3. Even though those came in losses, that's some big, some big-time guys to take on. As that is for sure. As also style Dragon Ball Jiu-Jitsu. That's fucking crazy. If you said that like today in 2020 that your style is Dragon Ball Jiu-Jitsu, people would look at you fucking sideways. As we have Daijiro Matsui, as he is 1-2-2, another kind of pro wrestler turned mixed martial artist. As catch wrestling guy, obviously, kind of the early on set years of Pride was kind of used as just because, we needed some, or they needed, I'm saying we as that word Pride, but they needed people on the roster to kind of help boost something, and so it's one of their own, just an average kind of catch wrestler, so he's not going to do very well for us as far as a whole in Pride, but, it's nice to at least have somebody of Japanese descent on the roster. That's always nice to have, though. As Ebenezer Fontez Baraga, one of my favorite names in all of mixed martial arts history. I was Ebenezer, like he's some 70-year-old man. But Ebenezer Fontes Baraga, another, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kind of, and I say Lutia Lavera as he more used to a very good name during this time as far as light heavyweights go in the MMA world in 2000. As you can see, beat Jeremy Horn at UFC Brazil and at the International Vale today. Lost to Dan Severn too, but and drew with Masakatsu Funaki at Pancrase 4. So and lost to Sakarabe at Pride 6 to an armbar. So really, he's going to do very well for us, though. I think in Pride, at least this 2000s and whatnot, it's high-level regional as far as name value as well. So that's good. He'll be a guy we use for sure. That is for sure. As Enson Inoue, who is actually really, really good for what he is at this time. Really as a wrestling jiu-jitsu kind of split in the middle guy, heavyweight fighter. He's got good wrestling skills, good ground skills, strong, according to the game here. But, mid-level national name value, so that's huge. He's going to be used a lot for us here in 2000 and 2001. For sure, as, he's lost to, he beat fucking Randy Couture at Vale Tuesday, 1998 here in Japan. So that's a big name to be beaten. So that's, we'll see, throw some bigger names out there, though. He's had one Pride fight at Pride 5. We'll see if he can keep his winning streak here at Pride going. He's 32, though. That's a, thing. He's 32. He's getting up there. But, as Big Daddy, Gary Goodrich, one of my favorite people during these early days of mixed martial arts is, I forget which UFC it was, but as I'm sure everybody, if you've ever seen like a highlight video of early UFC stuff, you will have seen this man in action when he counters a fireman's carry into a crucifix and starts raining down 12-6 elbows on top of this fucking guy's head. He rains down like 6 or 8 of them in the span of like 10 seconds. It's insane. Before John McCarthy saves that man's life. So this, Gary Goodrich, one of my favorites during this time. Obviously with a record at 9-9, it's always been like highly talked about, especially from Gary Goodrich, that a lot of these early Pride shows, he kind of threw because of what Pride was asked of him to do. Take that for what it's worth. It is what it is. But, he is going to be used a lot, though. I do love Gary Goodrich, so that's, because he's a good striker, strong striker. He's got mid-level national as far as for Japan, for name value, too, so that's going to be huge. But I love Gary Goodrich, so that's going to be awesome to see how he does for Pride here. As Guy Metzger, one of the best light heavyweights in the world at this time. So he's 10th in the world, 4th in Pride. A record of 22-9-2. But 0-1 in Pride as he lost to Akira Shoji at Pride 6 to a split decision. But, he's lost to Tito Ortiz. But he beat, Masakatsu Funaki here at Pancrase 5, which was for the Pancrase heavyweight title. So that was a huge, huge win for him there. And, I think he must have dropped the belt because here, he's been, last fight here at Pancrase 12. He does defense right there. So that's kind of, let's see if he's, oh no, just exclusive Pride. So I guess he must have dropped the belt. Interesting. So yeah, I completely forgot how we dropped the Pancrase heavyweight title. So there, that got reminded here from the game. That was cool. But yeah, Guy Metzger, really honestly, looking at his skills, he's a pretty solid kickboxer. So that's going to be nice to see what he does in the stand-up game. And I always like kickboxers, so it's nice to have a kickboxer on staff here at Pride, even early on. Obviously, once some of the bigger names start coming in, guys like Fedor Emelianenko, Mirko Cro Cop, even some other names that are maybe not they're in the database, but they're not signed by Pride right now. Once those guys get signed up, type of thing, we'll probably seeing some more guys leave and whatnot, but Guy Metzger might stay around, he might not, we shall see. As Hans Niemann from Holland, another Dutch kickboxer, as not as far as, again, a little bit better than what Bob is as far as Dutch kickboxing goes. I mean, they're kind of on the same level as far as what they can do. Obviously, more of a rings competitor, Hans is, but he has not had a pride fight yet, but that's going to change as he'll be in the open weight Grand Prix. But as far as, he's got strong physical skills, strong striking power. Weight cutting, we don't really need it. I don't think, at least. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for us, but who knows? Maybe that will happen. In all my years of playing really WMMA stuff, mainly WMMA 4 and 5 here, I've never seen anybody not cut weight. But maybe that's different, though. Maybe that's going to be a huge thing, though. As, now we got Igor, ice cold Igor Chenin, who is a Ukrainian kickboxer who at this time is one of the best in the world, without a doubt. I mean, you look at all these wins here at 39, 2-1, no contest, so he's 4-0 and no contest. There's no contest with Mark Kerr. Off the top of my head, I forget how the fuck that happened, the no contest there. But nonetheless, though, this motherfucker, I mean, he was in the finals of the Openweight Grand Prix in 2000 against Mark Coleman. That was the finals. I'm sure that's going to happen again, or at least he's going to be close to the finals. Looking at these stats and looking at what he's going to do just fine here in Pride. Obviously, mid-level national name, not only in Japan, but in Europe. And that's going to be huge. He's got great consistency, great chin, great boxing power, strong boxing skills, strong ground striking game. Really, he's going to be a fucking problem. I always forget, too, Igor is 5'8". That's not... You always think as a heavyweight boxer at 5'8", that's kind of weird. Like, that's kind of like, don't really see that. Short, kind of heavyweight boxer. Or kickboxer, rather. But, and Igor's the goddamn man at this point. One of the best in the world. They have 4th pound for pound, 3rd in heavyweight, and the #1 heavyweight fighter in Pride. So, I mean, he is going to be doing very well for us in the upcoming years. As Jorge de Oliveira, oh my gosh.
Jonael de Oliveira. Jonael de Oliveira. Jonael de Oliveira.
Jônio de Oliveira.
Jonael de Oliveira.
As Jonael de Oliveira, who is welterweight, obviously fighting at light heavyweight for us, as one of the 21st pound for pound in the world. It's a record of 12-3-1. He is really been huge in the Vale Tudo world, and here in Pride, he's going to look to showcase his skills and what he can do. I'm not really sure. Obviously, him being a welterweight, having to bulk up in weight to fight at light heavyweight. We'll see how he does. As far as, because a 5'6" light heavyweight, that is a lot to ask for. A lot to ask for, that is for sure. He's going to have to be on the gas. As Sakuraba, of course, Kazushi Sakuraba, the goddamn man. What will be our golden goose, for sure. What will be our ace, if you will. Obviously, you see the mid-level international name value. Should be main eventing our biggest shows. Strong marketability, strong ground skills. The Gracie Hunter, but obviously taking on Roller Gracie. Then he's going to take on Horace Gracie, hopefully, in the second round. We gotta hope so for that tremendous fight. We can only hope so, as, obviously, the man of Pride, a 6-0-1 of the draw record with Alan Ghost, the time limit draw in the 3rd round, 30-minute fight. That's going to be our big star, right? Sakuraba, of course, no surprise there. But Sakuraba, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he does not lose in the 1st round of the Openweight Grand Prix. That would definitely suck. As Fujita is here. Fujita, of course, it's so awesome to see him here in Pride to use. As far as in the future, what he does for Pride, not extremely well. He wasn't terrible though, but he didn't do extremely well, of course. I think a lot of people at this time were kind of hoping he would kind of be the heavyweight equivalent of what Sakuraba could do, but I don't think that could ever happen really. As far as Sakuraba, it's just one in a million type of thing. But Fujita, the goddamn man in being used in the pro wrestling world, really in the heavyweight MMA world, not so much, but we shall see. Maybe he'll go over well. He's got strong marketability, strong striking, strong wrestling, so the stats are there. Mid-level national skill as well, as far as name value, so we shall see. Hopefully he does well. Of course, Ken Shamrock, no surprise there. Really, his big kind of usage and Pride was Pride Bad Blood against Don Fry, which was fantastic for all the right reasons, of course, to just kind of namesayers of American MMA at that time, going at it in Pride. But obviously, Ken Shamrock would like to bring in Frank Shamrock, his brother, because Frank Shamrock is unemployed right now in this save. So we'll look to bring in Frank Shamrock too. Because Frank Shamrock's the goddamn man, as well as Ken Shamrock. But Ken Shamrock at this time, obviously 35, kind of on the downtrot of his career as far as, obviously age is catching up to him and whatnot. But he's still obviously a big name with great marketability, great minutes and whatnot. But still, and the name value is there, low-level international, So, I mean, we're going to use him, but we shall see how that goes. Mark Coleman, Hammer. Mark Coleman, Columbus, Ohio. As obviously a high-level national wrestler. You have the Godfather, ground and pound, the goddamn man, the winner of the openweight 2000 Grand Prix for Pride. We shall see if he does that here in this database, as that'd kind of be weird if he's not, because I would always call him the winner of the 2000 fucking openweight Grand Prix, and then if he does not do that, he just had to be Mark Coleman. He had to just be the Hammer. That's I'm hoping. Not because he's just from Columbus, Ohio, but just because he's Mark Coleman, and it'd be nice to keep canon of that. As Mark Kerr, another Ohio wrestler, as that's always. Listen, I don't want to be biased towards my Ohio wrestlers here, but it's nice. It's a sense of pride comes over me. It's nice that they do well. It's always nice. As he's been on quite the winning streak. The no contest again with Igor. Off the top of my head, I completely forgot how that happened. If that was due to something happening in the fight, if that was a post-fight thing and they had to switch it to a no contest. What I remember correctly, I think something happened as far as just a kind of misunderstanding of the rules and what the time limit was and something along the lines of that, and they just ruled it a no contest because both guys kind of just like, this is fucking dumb type of thing. But obviously a high-level wrestler. He's the second heavyweight as far as in Pride goes, the fourth in the world, and the fifth as far as pound for pound best fighter in the world. Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine, one of my favorite nicknames in mixed martial arts, especially at this time. Mark Kerr, he's going to do a lot of great things for Pride, that is for sure. And also, low-level international name value, so he'll probably be main eventing shows. As Masaki Satake, as a kickboxer, he really was a huge, I wouldn't say huge, maybe, a very high-level kickboxer for K1 at this time. Hasn't done anything MMA yet, so here, going into Pride, stepping into the MMA world, we shall see how he does. As Masaki Satake, he should do, depending on who he faces, I think he's going to be in the first Openweight Grand Prix. We shall see, though, as Naoki Sano, fucking New Japan Junior Heavyweight Naoki Sano, obviously at 38 years old, a 0-3, 0-2 Pride record. We're not going to use him a whole lot. His contract's running out. We're probably just going to let him go. But it's the pro wrestling fan of me popped to see him here on the roster of Naoki Sano. So, but yeah, he's not going to be around. But shout out Naoki Sano. As Naoya Ogawa, the goddamn judo kind of champion of in Pride here, a strong judo background, as he is, he's taking on, beat Gary Goodrich at Pride 6, and he's going to look to continue that winning streak and continue his winning ways in mixed martial arts here in Pride. Again, he is also going to be in the open weight Grand Prix, so that we shall see how he does in that. Nobuyuka Takada, the goddamn man, Nobuyuka Takada, as again, pro wrestling fan and me loves to see Nobuyuka Takada in this. Obviously, the Mark Coleman win, as you can see, even the guy was just like, who made this database, just like, yeah, we're gonna put that as abysmal for that rating because of how synonymous that is with it being a fixed fight. But he is going to be, I believe now, off the top of my head, I believe he's in the open weight Grand Prix. Another, let's just quickly look real quick. I just keep on saying people who are in it and who are not in it. He is in it. Yes, he's going to take on Royce Gracie in the first round. So yeah, so there we go. So probably not going to go well for him. I'm just going to be honest. Don't think he's going to beat Royce Gracie. Was talking about the Gracies, Renzo Gracie, of course, who is just on a tear right now, in rings and in Pride. He's on a goddamn warpath. Again, Akira Shoji, though, time limit draw in Pride 1. That's another one that's kind of been debated that was fixed. They just made it a draw, told the guys to go the time limit. But, it is what it is. As far as, again, he is a middleweight fighter, so him fighting at light heavyweight, not terrible on him, though. That's not a big jump, but it's still a jump nonetheless. But he should do okay, though. Obviously, a high level. Obviously, when you're talking about the Gracies, a national skill of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's, obviously Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, though. I was talking about Renzo Gracie. Same thing, Royce Gracie. The goddamn man. That's the god himself, if you will, the godfather of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. The man who started off UFC 1, winning and going all the way and winning. But the, last fight, Pride, Pride, UFC 5, a fucking 36-minute fight, went the distance with Ken Shamrock, as, again, last time he fought. So here, you're going into Pride, in Pride 1, in the open weight Grand Prix, against Nobuyuka Takada, and then hopefully Sakuraba beats Guy Metzger, and we have Royce Gracie and Sakuraba in the second round. Tom Erickson, who, another heavyweight wrestler, not as far as on the level, again, a high-level heavyweight wrestler, at 6'3", big guy, and really, he beat Kevin Randleman, he beat Gary Goodrich, he's taken on some big-time names, and he's got some great takedown defense, great takedowns, high-level wrestler, he's going to do very well for us in Pride, that is for sure, especially at the heavyweight level. It's tough because there's a lot of great heavyweight wrestlers in Pride right now, which is not really, it's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing for Tom Erickson. He can't really maul a lot of guys in the division, but just right now, the heavyweight scene, I think, in Pride right now is really, really good. It's top level for what the MMA world is at the time in 2000, when you have Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, Igor, you have, and he's missing, he was, when he was 1.5, he had a car accident, and his, basically lost his right pectoral and his right lung, and he, just to think of all of that, to not have a right pectoral muscle, not have a right lung, and to still, train in karate, become a boxer at 15, and then go on to become, train in jiu-jitsu and become a UFC fighter, to not have a right lung and right pectoral muscle, that is, insane perseverance and insane heart and insane courage. So I'm always a huge fan of Trey. We hope he does well here, and he's taking on Vitor Belfort at UFC 12. Lost to that, he lost to Pedro Rizzo, which those are two top-level talents doing Vitor Belfort and Pedro Rizzo. But still, we hope he does well. Obviously, the stats aren't really there, which sucks, but I hope he does well. As Vernon White, who is a submission fighter, at the time was kind of more of an with accomplished grappler. I think that's some good words, even in the database there. You see there, an accomplished grappler at the time. Wasn't, middle of the obviously looking at his record, a 13-21-1 record. It's not very good, but at the time where the MMA kind of scene was kind of not as heavy influence as it is obviously 20 years later here in 2020. So guys of that record, you could have that record and still be one of the best light heavyweights in the world. As you see here, 0-1 in Pride, lost to Sakuraba at Pride 2. Had to do an armbar. We shall see what he does in the future for Pride. I'm not expecting a whole lot, though. That's, again, he'll be a guy, once more guys come in, he'll probably take a back seat. The Phenom, Vitor Belfort, at 21 years old, he has taken on some of the best already in the MMA world, even at this time. Wow, he is categorized in the heavyweight world. That is kind of crazy and bright. He's the third heavyweight. That's pretty crazy. I would expect him to be light heavyweight. We're going to change that right now, actually, just because we don't really need him fighting heavyweight. That's, we'll keep him at light heavyweight. That's kind of, heavyweight's pretty obnoxious for him, even, as he is obviously goes on to become even a huge name in MMA throughout the years. So to see him in Pride, huge even at this time of 21 years old. Great striker, great, the combination of what he can do standing and on the ground with his jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu black belt, and great boxing skills. He's going to do very well for us, and obviously he's taken on some of the best already and won. Tank Abbott, Trey, Vanderlei Silva, and losing to Sakuraba to unanimous decision and losing to Randy Couture by TK, which again, him fighting a heavyweight is crazy to me. As Walid Ismaili, another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not just Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 6-2, 0-1 in Pride. It's up there in age, though, so you're not expecting him to do a whole lot as far as in the future for Pride. But Pride 4, he lost to Akira Shoji, which again, Akira Shoji, being the goddamn man, he's beaten a lot of big-time names, Akira Shoji, as you see here. As Gelé de Oliveira, he beat him as well at the International Valetudo at 19, let's see, when was this? 1997. So you see, he's had some high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, nonetheless a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, he'll do fairly well for himself when he's taking on, like, tomato cans or something like that. He'll beat pretty much anybody, for the most part. I think he's, got the skill to do it. Last and certainly not least, Vanderlei Silva, the Axe Murderer, 23 years old. He's 2-0 in Pride, 10-2. As a whole, who lost to, obviously, Vitor Belfort 44 seconds at the UFC Brazil, and a doctor stoppage at the International Valetudo show. So, here you have, obviously, again, much like Vitor Belfort, a man who is just very early on in his career, and he's still going to become a huge name for Pride in the future and whatnot, and in the UFC even, as the Axe Murderer, Vanderlei Silva, obviously a very high-level Muay Thai fighter. I think he's the only Muay Thai fighter on the roster, so that shows you just kind of how much, as far as how different he is. Let's just kind of hurry up and kind of scroll through it real quick. I didn't see anybody that was a Muay Thai as far as style. Yeah, the only Muay Thai fighter, so he's got that kind of going for him as that type of style. Obviously, too, even as early as 2000, MMA was still kind of this clash of styles. No one was really well-versed in kind of everything. So here, being the only Muay Thai style fighter in Pride, that's going to be a huge style advantage for him. So he should do very, very well, because obviously with Muay Thai, you're great in the clinch, you're great standing, but you can also go to the ground as far as on the offensive end and wrestling in on the offensive end as well. So he should do very, very well for us with the Axe Murderer, Vanderlei Silva. That should be great to see. He's not in the Openweight Grand Prix, funny enough, at the opening show, I believe. Maybe he was at the opening show, or maybe it was at the, no, I think it was at it was at the opening show. He took on Bob Schreiber here, at the, it's just kind of like an alternate, kind of like, hey, this is not, for the the Pride 2000 Grand Prix tournament, this is just kind of like an alternate bout, if you will. So that's, we'll probably do that again, so look out for that. For the second episode. Alright, so we went down the roster. We'll go through kind of quickly the corporate side of things. We'll make sure all this is upgraded. It's, yeah, because we got some money to spend. Boom, boom. And, we don't need a Hall of Fame, though. So we can just keep this, going. We'll keep this, upgrade the sponsoring. Upgrade that to large. We'll upgrade that to medium. And we'll upgrade this to medium as well. Oh, you know what? Large. Research. You know, we could, even though it's not really on brand for what's going on in 2000, we'll just save that as is. See if the money's changed at all. Okay, so yeah, you know, now down to 22 million. But that's okay. That's okay. We're doing just fine. As far as kind of these guys here, I see there's a lot of guys' contracts running up. Hans, Bob. We'll probably let Bob's contract go. Maybe not though. I mean, he's 34, 14 and 7. We'll see how the fucking Vanderlei Silva fight goes. Hans, yes, you know, again, 40. We'll see again how that goes. Carlos Newton, though, we are going to resign. That is for sure. So we'll see. Carlos Newton. Cute. Just because, you know, the Ronin. I love Carlos Newton. Alright. So, the tournament, we'll set that up off screen real quick and we'll show you guys how the tournament looks. Just because it's going to take a while. Type of thing. That's alright. Here's what it's going to look like. Obviously, it's pretty much the exact same. What is the exact same for what was the actual Pride FC Grand Prix 2000 tournament set for. Trey's in here because the fighter that is Osamu Kawahara is not obviously in the database, or he's not on the roster either. So throw in Trey in there. So we're gonna have, you know, Gary Goodrich and Trey Tellerman. So that should be a hell of a fight. But obviously Horace Gracie, Naoki Takada, Kazushi Sakuraba, Guy Metzger, Igor Fanchin, and Alexander Otsuka. Gary Goodrich, Trey Tellerman, Mark Coleman, Masaki Sataki, Kira Shoji, and Ebenezer Fontes Baraga, Mark Kerr, and Ensign Anoe, and then Kazuiki Fujita, and Hans Niemann as, man, alright, so there we go. We got the tournament set up, we'll create it, obviously open weight, 16 fighters. The Grand Prix 2000 is set. Hell yeah. So, that is what will be the first episode. Obviously, the first show was on January 30th, 2000. That was when the opening round was for the Grand Prix. So, we'll set that up. We'll probably do it a little bit sooner because, obviously, it's, you know, Monday, week 1 of, you know, January 2000. So, we have quite a while to go before we get to that. So, just to kind of speed up some things. We'll make it a little sooner than that. But that was at the Tokyo Dome. The opening round and then the finals were both at the Tokyo Dome. 48,000 was the opening round attendance, and then 38,000 was the finals. So kind of weird, you know, 10,000 people just like, that's all right. You know, I saw the opening round. I don't want to see the finals, I guess. So that was kind of weird that the finals got outdrew by the opener. Because, I mean, it's pretty much the same amount of... And plus the super fight, Ken Shamrock fought Alexander Otsaku at as kind of like the co-main type of thing. They kind of split up between the open weight tournament and the finals between Igor and Mark Coleman. But interesting, though, nonetheless. But that will do it for the opening episode, the intro episode for the Pride FC 2000 WMMA 5 series. Hope you all are excited as I am for it, as it's going to be a hell of a experience nonetheless. Can't really expect what to expect because of, well, because it's a shoot, brother. Not really sure what we can get out of it. But there's a couple of guys also I'm just seeing, like Carlos Newton isn't assigned to a weight class. He'll have to fight at light heavyweight, same thing. There. This man, he's probably walking around. Yeah, he's walking around at 170. Just gonna be like, hey, brother, you got to gain some weight. He'll be alright, though. Alright, so we'll catch you guys for the actual open weight Grand Prix 2000. Take care, everyone.